This radio host knew your secret before you dialed. In the sweltering summer of 1987, Mexico City's nightlife pulsed with an air of mystery, and amidst this vibrant backdrop, a late-night radio show captivated the attention of its citizens. La Hora de los Suspiros, or the Hour of Sighs, aired from the witching hour of midnight until the early morning hours of 3 a.m., a time when the city streets were less crowded, but the minds of its people were perhaps most active. The host of this enchanting program was a man named Arturo Valle, whose voice was as calm as a still lake on a windless day, deep and almost a whisper, weaving a spell of tranquility over his listeners. As people tuned in, they found themselves drawn into a world where the boundaries between reality and the unknown began to blur. It was on this show that people called in to confess their darkest secrets, the ones they dared not speak aloud in the light of day, the ones that haunted their dreams and filled their waking hours with an unshakable sense of guilt. But something was terribly wrong, a feeling that settled in the pit of the listeners' stomachs like a cold, hard stone. Arturo began answering the calls before the person on the other end of the line had spoken a single word. He would recite their confession word for word, as if he had been privy to their innermost thoughts all along. Listeners reported a cold silence on the line, a silence so profound it seemed to have a presence of its own, a palpable entity that filled the space between the caller's words and Arturo's responses. Then, his voice, calm and collected, would describe their hidden guilt, a forgotten crime, a buried regret, a fear they had never mustered the courage to tell another soul. The phone line remained completely silent, a stark contrast to the turmoil that must have been brewing inside the caller. They had not said a single word, yet Arturo knew. He knew it all. As the nights turned into weeks, the station received hundreds of calls, each one a testament to the morbid fascination that Arturo's show had inspired in the hearts of Mexico City's residents. People were terrified, yet they couldn't help but be drawn back, night after night, to listen and to call. The allure of the unknown, the thrill of confessing one's deepest secrets to a stranger who seemed to know it all, was too great to resist. And then, the pattern shifted, like the turning of the tide. The voice on the radio started to change. Some said it sounded less like Arturo, less human. It became colder, flatter, almost electronic, a transformation that sent shivers down the spines of even the most hardened listeners. It began describing events that had not happened yet, predicting the future with an uncanny accuracy that was both mesmerizing and terrifying. The calls started coming from numbers that didn't exist, a phenomenon that defied explanation and pushed the boundaries of what was thought to be possible. It was as if the very fabric of reality was bending and warping, allowing voices from the ether to reach out and touch the lives of those who listened. The final broadcast was on a Tuesday, a night that would be etched in the memories of those who heard it for years to come. A caller got through. The line was full of static, like the sound of 1,000 whispers all at once, a cacophony of noise that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. The voice on the radio spoke first, its words cutting through the static like a knife through silk. It described a murder in exact detail, the location, the weapon, the time it happened, every aspect of the crime meticulously outlined, as if the voice had been there, had seen it all unfold. Police received an anonymous tip an hour later, a call that would lead them to a scene of unimaginable horror. They found the scene exactly as described on the radio. The victim had only been dead for minutes. The crime had not been discovered yet. The radio show had described it first, a chilling precursor to the events that would soon unfold. Arturo Valle's final words were a scream, a sound that was cut short by a blast of static, a cacophony of noise that filled the airwaves, and then, just as suddenly, there was silence. The broadcast ended, the station went silent, and La Hora de los Suspiros was never aired again. Arturo Valle was never seen or heard from after that night, his disappearance as mysterious as the events that had transpired on his show. The official story was a technical malfunction, a simple explanation for a complex series of events that failed to satisfy the curiosity of those who had followed the show. But the switchboard logs told a different story, one that hinted at a more sinister truth. The final call that night came from inside the radio station itself, a call that seemed to emanate from the very heart of the mystery, a reminder that some secrets are better left unspoken. In the end, it's not the secrets we keep that define us, but how we respond to the unknown, to the voices that whisper in our ears when the lights are out and the world is hushed. The experience of La Hora de los Suspiros leaves one with a haunting question, a question that lingers long after the music has faded and the silence has descended. Would you call back if the radio knew your name?